Oh boy, what's up, everybody? Welcome back
Hey.
to the Justice Table, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I'm so excited here to be with my bros, Pastor Dion and Darryl, and just how
Esquire.
we've gotten to this place,
Yeah.
Esquire, gotten to this place that was birthed out of a chat. Y'all, we
Yeah.
Mm.
started from the we started from the chat. Now we're here.
Now we here.
Yeah.
See
And
what you
so,
did there.
first, just want to acknowledge who's really making this all possible.
Right.
Latasha Morrison,
Yeah.
founder, CEO of Be the Bridge. And we just want to honor her in her absence this go round. And we're looking forward to this conversation as we are in the middle of the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Um, guys, I want to give you an opportunity just to introduce yourself. At this time, I'm going to start with Pastor Dion.
Well, my name is Dion. I am a pastor of Imago Dei Church here in Swanee, Georgia. Father of 3 beautiful children, married to a wonderful wife, Michelle, and friends with these brothers right here. And Los Angeles native. So even though I'm in Georgia right now, I'm always repping the West. Yes, 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 yes.
Mm. Nice. Yeah. So Darryl Ford, a former pastor of Icon Church here in Atlanta, attorney as well,
Mm-hmm.
also an adjunct professor at Morris Brown. So it's all the things during this holiday season, grading final exams and all of that. Detroit native, what up, though?
Indeed.
Big Detroit fan. So Dion, our local teams are playing each other this Sunday, the Rams and Detroit.
Yeah.
Much love, but you might not hear from me on Sunday. Um,
Let's go, Rams. Let's represent.
I know it, but no, it's great to be with you, brothers, today.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. So I'm your host. I'm Jefferson Jones. I am deeply connected to Be the Bridge as I had
Mhm.
served as the youth and university program manager, still do racial reconciliation work, and also now the youth or kids director at Change Church at the Gwinnett campus here in Duluth, Georgia.
Mhm.
Lou?
So y'all, let's get into this.
Yes, sir.
Um, want us to rest on the most wonderful time of the year, or is it the most complicated? So we know we get into the holiday season and people get cheery and excited and joyful and just
Mhm.
full of, yo, let's just have a good time in the
Yeah.
holidays.
Right.
I'm gonna pause right there and but before I pass the mic, I want to say this, that I think that with all that's happening in the world, all that's happening in society, what's happening in our nation right now,
Mhm.
we need to be able to normalize this idea that it's okay for the season to not feel magical.
Mm.
So let that sit like there. You gonna let that sit right there, huh? Let that marinate. That's how you said it and backed off
Man,
of it. He's like, yeah. You wanna
I'll let you
jump
take
into
it
that,
first,
Daryl?
Pastor.
Okay.
I was gonna
Well,
let the
all
pastor
right.
start first.
Oh shoot, here you go. No, I resonate with that. I got so many different things to say, but I won't say more right now. But I will say, my wife and I were driving recently. We were on the freeway. We were going, where are we going? We're on the 400 going somewhere this past weekend. Or maybe it was last week. Either way, my mind's messed up. But we're driving on the freeway and it's the Christmas season. So I told her, I said, babe, looking at all these cars going back and forth. And I wonder, it was Thanksgiving. We were going to some first house. That's what it was. I said,
Yeah.
I wonder, how many people right now are going to their friends or family's house, or how many people are just going home to an empty house? And it makes me think about, a lot of times I think we get caught up in whether it's Thanksgiving or even Christmas, the magic or the supposed magic of the season. Now we can say a whole lot about that because if we get into like Mary and Joseph and Jesus' birth and the Advent season just in general, wasn't that magic?
Right.
Isaiah 9 wasn't magic. Matthew, Mark, Luke, any of the gospel accounts, we had magnificent things happen,
Yeah.
but those things were accompanied with some stress inducing moments.
That's
They
right.
were on the run, they were going back for the census, all this different stuff. They got a bounty on their head, go figure. I was thinking about the fact that so many people are going home just to be alone, heat up a TV dinner, if those are still things, but be by
Yeah.
themselves.
TV
You know,
dinner.
yeah, right. I'm aging myself. Hunger
I
Games
remember.
and just be by themselves, and the stress is compounded for them because they're going home feeling as if there's an expectation to be a certain way in the moment, but they don't sometimes don't have the means to be that way
Yeah.
financially or mentally, emotionally, and don't have the people to be that way with. They don't have a village or community. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think in this time when it's not so magical, like you were mentioning, Jefferson, how are we addressing that with people who we know who may be experiencing that? But even for us, the pressure to make it feel magical when sometimes it don't feel magical.
Right.
Well, that's my kind of response to kind of what you mentioned, what you kind of
Yeah.
are marinating. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I mean, I think you nailed it. I feel like people, it's always been difficult, specifically as a pastor entering in spaces like this, because I feel like the pressure is always on to do just what you said, D, that uh, help to create and to lean heavily into the
Mm-hmm.
fun part, the joyous part, which is
Mm-hmm.
important.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
huge,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
definitely not less than that, but it should be more
yeah.
than that. Um,
That part.
I do find that the holiday season becomes a vehicle by which people anesthetize themselves against lament.
Mm,
Um,
Mm.
and we can find anything to use that for, but I think the holidays are a good one that we use it for.
mm-hmm.
And so people will say, okay, it's the most wonderful time of the year, but that depends on where you're standing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, yeah,
mean, as you guys have already said, I mean, for many folks, especially in marginalized communities, this season carries like a really sharp tension, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
the lights are dark, but I mean, the lights are bright, but the world still feels
yeah,
dark,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So we are celebrating in Christmas, but we're watching wars unfold. We're
yeah,
watching
yeah.
families that are grieving losses seats at the table won't hide. I mean,
Right,
there's injustices that's like shaping who gets to feel safe, who gets to feel
right.
heard, who gets to feel
Mhm.
flourish. So yeah, when somebody asks if it's the most wonderful time of the year, I feel like, and I think we all agree with this as pastors, Christmas has never meant that the world was all right. I mean, Dion already said it. The original Christmas story is surrounded by political violence and poverty and forced migration and state
Mhm.
injustice and babies getting killed and people getting displaced. I mean,
Yeah,
that's always
yeah,
been the case. So
yeah,
I think the wonder of Christmas is not that everything is perfect. I think
Mm.
the wonder is that God chooses to step into a broken world anyway, and
that
that
part. Yes.
Christmas is like this reminder. I think trying to remind
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
that God refuses to stand at a distance from human pain. Like
Mm.
Emmanuel, meaning God with us,
Yep, yep.
is God being with us while injustice is still raging, like while the world is
Yeah,
still unfair, while we
yeah.
are still trying to hold ourselves together. So, no, it might not be the most wonderful time of the year for many people, but it's a deeply meaningful time because hope shows up in places that look nothing like perfection.
Mhm.
And I think the Christmas story teaches us that like joy and justice are not separate conversations, right? It invites us to tell the truth about what hurts and still
Mhm.
hold on to the promise that healing is still possible.
Mm. That's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's so good, y'all. You make me think about, now looking at just the consumerism of Christmas and how much, I guess how much there's been a sanitation of the text of
That's
the
right.
story
Yeah, yeah.
to
Yeah.
make everything merry and bright.
That's right. That's right.
But if you sanitize the text, you sanitize the story, then you allow people the opportunity to suppress certain emotions
Mhm,
because
mhm,
they
mhm.
feel that they're
Yeah,
wrong in the
That's
yeah,
right.
Christmas
yeah,
season.
That's right.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
It doesn't fit the motif, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right.
Yeah. You're right.
yeah.
You're right. So if you're mourning, if you feel some level of mourning, you feel like your mourning is going to be so off-putting because everybody here came to party. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Everybody
Hmm.
here is ready to so like you don't want to be the downer, right?
Yeah.
But the implication is that God's not here for downer stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
That goes into a wider conversation, you said that, because that goes into a whole theology that we have, that but God
Hmm.
not here for the downer stuff. But I mean, like what you
Hmm.
mentioned about not wanting to be the downer in places, that even increases the mental health piece of it because then there's a stigma. And for us if we're that person that doesn't want to be the downer or has it, we'll then kind of get into this avoidance. So,
That's right.
since we don't want to be the downer, we end up being by ourselves. We don't go around. We don't
Whew.
come around.
Yeah.
And the thing about the holidays that's wild is that many times the people, when you don't go around, the ask as to why you didn't go around is more of an accusation
Yeah.
versus, hey, I noticed you didn't come to the turn up. Everything okay?
Yeah.
It's no, you wasn't there, you missed it. And there's
Exactly.
this indictment as to why you didn't come versus maybe there's a reason why they didn't come.
Yeah.
But we got to hold up this exterior posture of, like Jefferson said, this the magicalness of it and the turn up and gotta
Yeah.
be feel this kind of the lights are on and everything's happening when
Yeah.
that's not necessarily a consistent way for everyone to be feeling or a
That's right.
consistent way even for yourself to be feeling in certain moments,
That's
so
right. That's right. Yeah.
Mm,
yeah.
No, that's real. I think getting people the hardest part, I feel like, to the point that you brought up, Jefferson, the folks that feel like they can't authentically show up with everything,
Yeah.
right?
mhm.
Because we tell everybody, right, as pastors, you tell people, man, come as you are. Jesus loves you where you are. Jesus. But these are the seasons where people just are like, it's not that people are expressly saying, don't bring any of your sad stuff. Nobody's saying that, right?
Right.
It's implied.
But
It's
it's
implied.
implied.
It's
And
implied.
it's implied, it's modeled. It's something that we see like very rarely is there time. It almost sounds foreign to talk about lament during Christmas. It sounds foreign for people because, it's like, we got family stuff and Christmas tree stuff and lights and performances and Christmas cantatas and I am not besmirching any of that. Like all that's good
Right.
stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's very much like we have to have a place to hold what is merry and what is melancholic
Some
at the
intention.
same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you erase or if you remove the centrality of the justice of Jesus's birth,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Man.
And you take away that tension,
Man. Yeah,
right?
you do.
And so what are we left with? We have people now who, like, if we look in the body, we just look amongst, we don't know lament.
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
We don't understand the tie of lament to justice.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No.
Mm-mm. There's no place for it in a lot of
Yeah.
churches, sadly.
No. Yeah.
Mhm.
For sure. But Jefferson, you definitely alluded to it, but then Darryl also he took the words off the page when he talked about joy and justice. Because like so for Advent at the church, we're in a series called Make Room, and the first
Mm.
installment was making room for joy and justice. Because when we're
Yeah.
looking here at Isaiah 9, everybody when they talk through Advent about Isaiah 9, when pastors do touch Advent, they go to Isaiah 9 and they go to Isaiah 9:6.
Yeah.
That's where they stay.
Yeah.
They don't go from 1 to 6, or they don't go to 7, they go to 6. For until the child is born, for until the son is given, and yada yada yada. But when you look at verse 1, when the prophet is talking to them, they're in captivity, they're in bondage, they're in oppression, and he's
Mhm.
talking about how there is this sense of lament, and he's talking about how their boots and the blood-soiled garments are going to
Yeah.
be, he's talking about the joy and the justice and the
That's right.
reclamation. And then in verse 7, he talks about the house of David and Jesus bringing the justice. And
Mm.
so,
Right.
but in I think verse 3 and 4 and 5, he says, joy, joy, rejoice. And so at the hope of what's coming, but when the prophet is speaking to them, they're in this lamentable, terrible place, and then they're getting the hope of this Messiah coming.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so we always jump to the hope, but it's like, well, what's the hope for? Because it jumps into verse 6, it says, for unto us. So there's a transitory phrase. So what happened? So the thing is, I'm giving you all these things, and so for unto us. So
Yeah.
6 gives me a hope that is contrasting. So it's letting me hold this joy and this justice that he came to bring. But
Yeah.
it's two things that I'm holding in tension, like Jefferson opened up with. But we
Yep.
don't. I think if we approach Advent with a little more of the reality of that, Advent is not a party. Advent is an expectant waiting in the moments of where we are. And
Yeah.
so there's a sitting that we don't do in that. There's so much, and then we can
Yeah.
get into spiritual bypass and all that kind of different stuff. Because if you come to like nobody feels that they can, and I'm gonna let it go because I can go on this forever.
No,
But
it's
nobody
good.
feels they
It
can
was
come to
good.
church sad right? They can't come to church sad, depressed, and upset because of the joy I have to have,
Yep.
not
Yep.
realizing that, hey, maybe, and so, but the person who feels that way, they should have the inkling, or somebody should let them know, hey, I can come in this state that I'm in, and maybe the person would come and see me in that and sit with me in that
Yep.
at Christmas. But
Yep.
but we don't let the at Christmas be a thing where I can come and be sad. I can come and be upset. I can come and be anxious and worried. I can come because here, and well, I'm sure we'll get into this later, or at least I'll come back to it later, so I can shut up right now. But
No.
there's an idea at Christmas, at the Advent season, at the Christmas season, that we have to have all the things together.
Mm.
So we have. Do you know, like, how many people at the end of Christmas, when Christmas is gone, are lamenting now either the loneliness they had, or the expiration date on their mental wellness and their pocketbooks, because
Yeah.
they had to put up this ruse during the holiday that was not there.
Yeah.
Mm.
It wasn't there. I mean,
Man.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No,
You
no, no, no.
got it.
I'm
No,
rocking with you.
no, because I just, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get off of it, and we'll. But I remember years ago, because one of the, like, statistically, that they're one of the huge stressors and mental health stressors in Christmas is the financial stressor.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
people feel like I need to do all these things. I remember one time years ago, man. One Christmas morning, my youngest, he was a baby. My middle, my oldest, they were young, but this is years ago. And Christmas morning, I broke down and I'm on the couch, man, in pajama pants and a tank top, bawling, crying,
Yeah.
just boohoo crying in front of my whole family and my kids. And they're like, "Well, why are you crying, Dad?" I'm like, "Because in my dad mind, in my husband provider mind, I'm like, I did not have the financial wherewithal to do this how it's supposed to be
Mm.
done." And so I'm
Mm.
disappointed in myself because I don't have all the
Mm.
things together. And so that,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's something that's not unique to me. That's unique to folk all around every Christmas, even this Christmas, where people are feeling that way. And it's a
Yeah.
mental health, it's a high stressor. It's
Yeah.
very high. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, man,
Mm.
thank you for sharing that
So
too, because
good.
that's not a, that's not a small thing to even be
Mm-mm.
able to admit,
Oh,
hey, when all this light is around, there's some heavy
mhm.
stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we're carrying. And I think, you know, I think about how this time of the year, there's a lot of light, which is what we want. We want to talk
yeah,
about the
yeah,
light, right?
yeah.
Right.
And we know, I mean, the scripture says, right, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. But sometimes we almost have to fight for finding that light in these times.
Mm.
You have to fight for that light. It's
Mhm.
not just something that's always readily apparent. And
Right,
what
right.
happens around Christmas is, from the pulpit, sometimes we can almost act like it's just so easy to ascertain that light, y'all. It's so easy. And it's like, no, not always. And there's a poem I had up because I wanted to. It's just two stanzas on it from famous theologian and mystic Howard Thurman. And
Mm.
Thurman has a really, really famous poem called "I Will Light Candles This Christmas." And I
Mm.
just want to read just it's two short stanzas, but it really does encapsulate what we're talking about, right? How do we, in the midst of, look at right now where we are, in the midst of all types
Yeah.
of racism and
Mhm.
kind of nationalism, and some of the ways that people are being ostracized
Mhm,
and
mhm.
dehumanized, right?
Yeah, yeah.
how
Mm-hmm.
do we how do we fight for light and hope without gospel gaslighting folks, right?
Woo,
And so
sir.
what Howard Thurman said was this. He said, "I will light candles this Christmas, candles of joy despite all sadness, candles of
Mm.
hope where despair keeps watch, candles of courage for fears ever present, candles of peace for tempest-tossed days, candles of grace to ease heavy burdens,
Mhm.
candles of love to inspire all my living, candles that will burn all the year long."
Wow, wow.
Bro, that poem, and he was inspired by John 1:5, right? The light shines in the darkness, darkness.
Wow.
But what's interesting about that is there is this idea that if we have the regular rhythm of carrying a light in the midst of dark things and being able to hold that tension throughout the year, then we've got the muscle memory to engage in that when Christmas comes.
That's so good. Yeah, you made me think about 2 Corinthians chapter 4
Hmm.
and how we are all these clay pots, right? Scripture says we have this treasure in earthen vessels.
That's
right.
And I think it's up in 5 and 6. Let light shine out of darkness.
That's right.
And so it made me think about just this, again, this tension, light and darkness, fragility, weakness and strength.
Yeah.
That as we come into these different seasons, we don't have to leave a piece of us behind.
That's right.
God doesn't ask us to leave any of us behind when we come to him.
That's right.
And so like this treasure, this light in this earthen vessel, in this fragile vessel that I am, that even when I'm fractured, even when I'm going through something, even if I'm feeling a little, melancholy, if I'm feeling sad or grieving,
Yeah.
I still have a light that shines.
Yeah.
And I think for us, as men of faith and just for other believers who are watching and listening to this, that when we show up as our authentic self and we are going through a tough time or going through a hard time, it is in those moments that others around us need to see our strength come forth, our light come forth. And it becomes a mystery to people. Like, how are you still standing?
Yeah.
How are you still in your right mind? How are you still joyful when this just happened? And this hits different for me, guys, this time because, this season, because my mom passed November the 4th.
Amen. Yeah.
And my dad, 3 years ago, passed in January, on January the 4th. My dad's birthday is December 28th. Christmas is the 25th. So I have all these dates now.
Yeah.
My mom's birthday, October 21st. She passed on November 4th. Christmas, December 25th.
Yeah.
Dad's birthday, December 28th. He passed on January 4th. So I have all these dates now.
Wow.
And it's just so fresh.
Yeah.
And when people know me, they're like, Jeff, how are you? It's like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But the sting is still there.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, even in these moments, man, it's like for us, like we have this weight and this charge that even in the midst of, grief and hard times, that we keep, it's like we're holding this torch. And like, even when I go down, I still got this torch. And it's like, and there's a mandate that we hold on to this torch. But just because I'm holding up this torch, it doesn't mean that I'm not hurting.
That's right.
And
That's right.
the two can coexist. I don't think we do a great job of helping people navigate in discipleship on how to do both.
No. No.
Man, you about to start something. So were you gonna say something, Darryl? I don't want to cut you.
No. I'm just
So you made me think of two things, Jefferson, when you shared that about having these dates and kind of like what this stretch of, from October through January, how it holds space for you. Maybe think about, there's the social media meme that people always say, well, check on your strong friends, right? And I feel like not even so much checking your strong friends, I think about checking on your seasonal friends, right? I think about what the holidays does for people. I think about the stress and the sadness and the grief that people hold around the holiday season. And so like Jefferson is a perfect example of that. He's talking about this October to January. That's the holiday season, whether they celebrate Halloween, whatever, but that's that October, that's the ramp up. Right. And then January 9th is just at January 4th is just at 4th is after the crux of the new year. I think about the season. There are people in this season that, whether it be a Jefferson who has the dates tied to it or whether it be anybody, when that Christmas season comes around, that we should be checking on people that we know who have, had a loss or had something or have some emotional deficiency now because of the season of what happened that season, or even people that we don't know who have had something, because sometimes we don't know that they've had it, but they've had it. And I think about since the season already has high intensive anxiety,
Yeah.
sadness, and grief for so many people, whether it's retail store workers who are
Yep.
crazy anxious right now, whether it's people who can't afford stuff, whether it's people who lost people. There's a thing where I think about, like, if you play a sport, right, and you have an injured ankle or injured knee, now the kids who play basketball, they wear these patella bands,
Mm.
right? To give that support. Or if you have an injured ankle or a soft ankle, you have an ace bandage or an ankle brace that you get because it supports you during that certain moment for that
Yeah.
certain part. I think about that support that people need, that extra that they need during that certain moment and certain part that we need to be able to give to people. And I also thought about
Mm.
from Jefferson about talking about that light that we're holding out. And because he's holding that light doesn't mean that at the same time it doesn't hurt and doesn't sting. And I think, and you mentioned, Darryl, about Howard Thurman. I think from a Howard Thurman perspective, and even from like a traditional Black church perspective, and we don't see this so much in the modern church age per se, but whether you talked about enslaved Africans who are
Mm-hmm.
doing the Underground Railroad, or
Mm-hmm.
enslaved
Mm.
Africans in general,
Mm-hmm.
or Africans in general, when
Mm-hmm.
who held the gospel, there was this. And even for those of us who grew up in Black church spaces, there was this piece when you were preached to, the preachment, the calendar of preaching and the sermons were about, yes, these things are dark, these things are crazy, these things are, we're under tyrannical government, or whatever's happening right now, but somehow being able to uniquely fuse the light of Christ in that same moment, and teaching us to hold the tension. You know, when you had enslaved Africans coming, Underground Road, whatever, we have these Negro spirituals that are being sung, you know, holding attention. And I don't think now in our modern church age, we are preaching towards or encouraging towards that you can hold attention. So people think that if I don't have this facade of everything being okay all the time,
Yeah.
I begin to suppress the hurt, suppress the pain, suppress the grief and anxiety. And what happened, I tell people this all the time because it happened to me, you implode.
Yeah.
Mm.
I imploded because I used to suppress it. This is even the Christmas story that I was telling you about. This is something else. There's this suppression of how feel you need to be emotionally. And when you crash out, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of Christians are en route to crashing out emotionally because we don't feel that we can hold both of these things. No one taught us, one, that it was okay, and two, how to do it.
You know,
But scripture's replete with how to do it and that it's okay.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got it there. Yeah.
So good.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just like piggybacking because you know, there are some church traditions that are, I hate using the phrase, but I think in theological circles, people know what they mean when they talk about high church, right? Some of these high
Mhm,
church
mhm, mhm.
traditions where they
Yeah,
have
Yeah.
the
yeah,
liturgical calendar. One of the
yes.
beautiful things that I've always envied, because I didn't come from high church background, right? Coming from very proud Pentecostal background,
Mhm,
but one of the things that were often not a part of that was the idea of a liturgical calendar. And
mhm, mhm.
what those who come from those traditions are
Yeah,
familiar with the early church's practice of Advent, right?
yeah, yes,
Advent is something
yes.
we all use the word, but
We don't know what
under
it means. We just use
yeah,
it.
we don't know what it means. I
Does it
mean,
sound cute? Right.
it is. It's cute. It's become a part of the accoutrement of Christmas, right? If you're a church person.
Mhm.
But the truth is, I mean, Advent, it was never something that was created as a happy countdown to Christmas gifts, right? It
Come
was
on.
historically,
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
yeah, you got it.
historically, it was always a season of quiet reflection. It was a season of
Yes,
repentance. It was
yes,
a season of waiting in the
yes,
darkness for
yes,
light. And
yes,
this ties directly into
Mm.
conversations about
yes,
mental health and
yes,
emotional heaviness
yes,
because Advent honors the fact that people often meet God in the dark. So when you're sitting in that
yeah.
dark place, there ain't a better time of the year than
Mhm,
Christmas
mhm,
because ultimately that's what it's designed for. Like we need to, and I think a spiritual discipline
mhm.
of intentional Advent seasons for us is necessary to get what you
Yes,
got at,
yes,
Dion, because you're right. We've lost that.
yeah.
That's not a part of our rhythms. That's not a part of our muscle memory. We need it. You do.
That's so good.
It's just heavy.
My
Oof.
my head is going in so many directions, because I'm thinking about this now from a cultural perspective,
Mm,
as a black man.
Yeah.
and thinking about things historically,
Yeah.
and thinking about, man, what was central to Christmas for Black families historically.
Man, listen. Yeah, like, I mean, no, I didn't want to cut you off. I'm thinking of
No, you're
something that
good.
you
I'm
just
just
said.
thinking.
No, because it's funny that man, Jefferson, my mind was going to a very similar place.
James was
You,
starting the fires and just stepping off. He did.
no, I'm just like sitting there thinking, because, and I'm glad you've drawn us into this, Jefferson, because the truth is, this ain't new to the folks that come from the traditions that we know. This tension, it's only a tension for us now because, frankly, we have the luxury to let it be a tension, even as Black men, with some awareness of the heaviness. We are privileged to a degree where our ancestors were not, right?
Come
And
on.
and one of the, if you were to go back to New Year's Eve of 1862, okay, let's go back to the Christmas season of 1862. What were enslaved people doing? They were gathering, they were praying, they were waiting for emancipation, right? The Emancipation Proclamation is dropped. They're just waiting to get word that it's going to affect them, right? So they're waiting for New Year's. The whole Christmas season is a time for them of spiritual weightiness, right? That to me, that history shows
It's
how
biblical.
thank you.
What the Bible say. Right.
Yes, it's like, yeah, like, and it shows how
Mm.
our communities have always had to navigate joy and sorrow in the same season. Like the Black tradition of Watch Night teaches us that the holidays hold both deep longing and deep hope
Yes.
at the same
Yes.
time.
Yes. Yes.
Period.
Uh-oh.
Yes. No, you hit on something, Darryl, because you talk about the cultural aspects of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and Jefferson started and you segued into that as far as the cultural aspect of think. And it makes me think about even, and this is not Advent related so much, but it makes me think about, I remember when, and this it's going to sound bad, but it's not. Um, at the beginning when a lot of people were crashing out, deconstructing from Christianity,
Right.
right? Um, I, I I find the use of terms interesting, and this is I'm gonna get there in a moment. The point. So a lot of people who were deconstructing were white folk.
Mm.
Black people were decolonizing. So Black people weren't leaving the faith
Yeah.
because, like you mentioned, Joe, we've always had to
Yeah.
traverse
Yeah.
and tether ourselves between the joy and the justice. We've always had to
That's right. That's
find
right.
find the hope of the Exodus in spite being enslaved. We've
That's
always
right.
had to do that. And we've always had a keen understanding and awareness that those far right evangelicals ain't about nothing.
That's right.
Mm.
So when the mask was off or the hood was off,
Mm.
we weren't like, oh my God, Jesus isn't real. Because we always got it.
Yeah.
So for those of us who were engaged, we just decolonized that. We knew that over there. So we still gonna say, "Ride on, King Jesus, no
Yeah.
man can hinder me." But
Right.
but on the other culture, and folk were losing their minds and leaving Jesus because they didn't ever have to make those distinctions. And so
Mm.
I think about, like you mentioned, from the cultural perspective, and I don't want us to lose this in our modern, evolved, fancy times that we're in right now. I don't want us to lose how to do that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Lose that connection of how to hold Jesus and let Jesus be supreme over this, and but help ease me and massage me and heal me in this.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because the same way that Jesus can handle those moments, my God, why have you forsaken me?
Yeah.
And nevertheless, not your will, but my will be done, even though I want this cup to pass. And we see
Yeah.
Jesus hold those tensions and
Yep.
still let God arise and his enemies be scattered. That's an old school hymn. And for people
Yep.
to
Mm.
listen to may not know what that is. But
Mm-hmm.
we should be able to do that now in this 21st century as well. So
Yeah.
you got
That's
me on a
good.
hobby horse,
That's good. And
Daryl.
I was just thinking too, for like people of color, brown, Black people specifically, in this, really coming to a place of owning both faith and emotion, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Faith and feelings, being able to see those things as
Yeah. Yeah.
not an opposition,
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, then helping them to say that, therapy and, mental health, caring for
Yes.
yourself in that way,
Yes. Yep.
that we normalize those things
Yeah, that's right.
But
That's
then
right.
also coming to a point now, like what do we do with, or not what do we do, but man, what do we say to people who have been programmed or conditioned to
Yeah,
think
programmed. Yeah.
that like you got to suppress those things and you don't need therapy,
Mm.
you don't need help. Where do we go?
Uh, it, it, so I think the conversation, right, that you just, man, you're lighting the fire, because that is often been such a taboo topic, especially in Black communities. A lot of times to talk about
Mhm.
that. I think in communities at large, but especially in the communities I came from, sure, similar to y'all, talking about therapy and mental health is still relatively new in some of these church
Yes.
spaces, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I say that, Jefferson, I connect deeply with what you shared, brother, about having lost parents and what that does during this holiday season. I lost my mom unexpectedly very soon,
Mm,
and her birthday is December 31st. And so,
Mm.
and the holiday season, right, is a season wherein all of, my mom was the kind of person that curated memories during the holidays, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you sit with these things do something to you, right? You
Mhm.
replay things, you long for things, there's conversations you wish you could have had. You internalize that. There are things that
Yeah.
you wish you could make right. You internalize
Mhm.
that. All those things hit, right? So you're sitting in that and you're like, man, what do we do with that? And I would just say it's really important that we model this, that we show
Mhm.
that we show it's okay to be in the both and. It's not an either
mm,
or. We can be in the both and. I can sit and enjoy, and we can watch our movies and we can enjoy each other and still hold a place, or
Mhm.
even a large place sometimes,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
there's real mourning. Because one of the things that we all agree, and I think we've seen this throughout history, but one of the things we all agree is,
mm.
look, our ancestors survived
Yeah.
by bearing one another's burdens. They survived, right? The same calling rests on us today during a season that often magnifies emotional strain. I think that we've always been, even before there was such a thing as mental health, there was always this idea of our community showing up for one another.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's how we survived. I mean, we didn't have a
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
there, I mean, our prayer closets were far more inclusive back then. I'll just put it that way.
Mm,
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think that we've got to model that, to be like, not just talking to, hey, how are you doing? You can tell me. We got to model it by saying, hey, y'all, I know this is great, but I just got to share something heavy that's hitting me
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Just being vulnerable enough to go, Christmas ain't, I ain't got it all together this Christmas, y'all.
yeah, yeah. No, you hit that, Daryl, and it made me think about, because we talked about this at church a while ago, and what you were just mentioning with Galatians 6, bear you one another's burdens, so
Yeah.
fulfill the law of Christ. So we talked about that as far as like sharing in your
mhm,
church spaces, sharing with in your communities. Sometimes, the burden is like a two-way burden, where the people who are going through, who should be sharing, a lot of times they are not sharing because of what happened last time they shared.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Lot of times somebody will share the thing, the hurt, the pain, the deficiency, whatever it is, and it became an example in the sermon.
right.
When
You
they did pastoral
weaponize
counseling. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
weaponize my
Yeah,
vulnerability.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's it.
Or you told somebody in the church, "Hey, I'm struggling financially," and that came back to bite you. With because they just so the person or the people who should have been holding space and
Yeah.
holding protection and security for your deficiency and your ailment and whatever it is,
Yeah.
we actually end up doing a huge, and there's an accountability on us for kind of shunning them away and not
Yeah.
making a good space for them to share, because they they don't feel, we always say, well, they don't feel okay sharing, but we never ask ourselves, why don't they feel okay sharing?
Yeah.
That part.
And a lot of times they don't feel okay sharing because the last time I shared with you,
Yep.
what you did with what I shared with you was
Hmm.
so traumatic, so hurtful, that I'm not going to share again. And so then we kind of, by proxy at least, force them to internalize so much, or
Mm.
we
Mm.
whatever the slow spiritual death, the mental death, or emotional death and decline they go
Yeah.
into, many times it's our fault because of what we did the last time they shared. So the church oftentimes, or Christians oftentimes, that community oftentimes, we have not made what we supposed to have been. We fell
Yeah.
short. And
Yeah.
so we didn't make it a place where they could share. And so we'll say things like you say, it's okay to share, or, we play the act of, I'll bear your burden, I'll bear your burden. But when I give it to you to bear, it's like when people say, how can I pray for you? But they really just want to know what you're going through so they can
What's
have
your
some
dirt?
tea.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
They're not really praying for you. They're praying
Mm-hmm.
P-R-E-Y-ing you as
That's
opposed to
right.
A-Y-ing you.
Mm.
That's right.
So yeah,
That's right.
and I think, like, to your question, Jefferson, about how do we let them know? I mean, I think it's a matter of, it's cliche, but let them know it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
That
Mm.
you can really be broken. You can really be like a life sucks kind of attitude, and that's okay in this moment. Now, because I love you, we're not gonna let that be your eternal spot.
Right.
But bring that here. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
bring the burden, bring the tear, bring the anxiety, bring all the stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the thing that's sad to me, even as I say that, as we say that so many times as a church, pastors will always say it. You can bring your brokenness here, and then folk bring their brokenness here, and we just make it more broken. We make it
Facts.
more. And I think during this holiday season, it's tough because people need places to land, but there is nowhere to land. And if you think about, and I'm gonna jump off this so y'all can jump in and do what you
No,
gotta
that's
Mm.
do.
it.
I think about, like, if you're
Where you
flying
at?
a plane, the first thing that if you're ever in a plane that's low on fuel, that first thing they do, now if it's Air Force One, they're gonna refuel it in the air with fighter jets. But for anybody else in a passenger jet, they're gonna try to find a place to land to get
Right.
fuel.
Right.
And if you think about a place where you can't land, you're just circling around because there's nowhere to get fuel, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to crash, and everybody who's in you is going to die.
Yeah.
So I think about the people who end up dying because we have no safe place to land because no one provided a place for us to fuel. And then the people that are attached to us, our kids, they're like, "Mom, Dad, why are you depressed?" And then it gets up to
Mm.
them. And so, just like the cargo in the plane, the people in the plane, they die when there's nowhere to fuel.
That's
We
right.
also die, and the people attached to us have the potential of dying because we've not provided safe places to land and be burdened and be hurt and be sad in this Christmas season. And so
Man.
it's
That's
a
good.
shame. It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we can do
Yeah.
better. We can do better. I think we can
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
better.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I just want to say, just to people who are going to see this and listening in,
Yes,
just
sir.
a practical thought, and that is just to give yourself permission to not be around people who continue to cause you pain.
Man.
The gift of freedom.
Mm.
Set the
Gosh.
boundaries,
Man. Talk
and
about
it's
that.
and it's okay to change your mind.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because because bros, when we don't set limits and
Mm-hmm.
boundaries in our life,
Mm-hmm.
other people will do it for us.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get forced to learn that in some very hard ways.
That part.
And I would say, in church spaces, you can often be made to feel like the Christ-like way is to just be ever available
Mm-hmm.
and boundaryless,
Uh-oh.
because that's good grace. That's showing grace to people. That's showing compassion.
I thought
But
you loved me.
You
man,
can't see
see,
that, can you?
I
no,
can't see it. Read
This
you
it.
is
want to read
Read
it?
it.
Jefferson's post. This is Jefferson's post.
Yep.
When he said it, just now, it dropped in. I'm like, when I saw this
See,
post, I read it to my wife right away. I was like, babe, and he did this last week. You don't have to be
mm-hmm.
around certain family members during the holidays just
No,
because they make the demand. You're an adult and you have the right to not go. Adulting 101 holiday edition.
that's it. That's drop that. That
Yeah,
mic is
yeah,
dropped. And it's and I think so if I tie around some churchese language that gets thrown to guilt people, right? I think that also folks listening learn the substantive difference between forgiveness and reconciliation.
okay, that part.
I think, and this is a time of the season where people often feel forced into reconciliation
Yeah,
without there
yeah, yeah.
being good forgiveness and repentance, right?
Right, right,
So,
right.
so, so it's important for people to realize, and it's a lot for me. I've always had to work through this too.
Mhm.
Forgiveness requires one person. You don't need the other person to forgive them. So for those in this holiday season who have brokenness, some heartache, some pain, you've been sinned against, you've got to be
Mhm.
around people. Yes, we have the responsibility of forgiving, and not to go too preachy on it, but it simply means I give up my right for revenge against you. So I'm
Yep.
not trying to
Yep.
seek your worst. I'm not
Yep.
trying to exact my pound of flesh. But
Yes.
forgiveness is not a right of reentry. So if I'm forgiving you, I forgive you. I'm not trying to come for you. I'm not trying to come after you. But also, if the rhythms of repentance have not yet happened satisfactorily, then
Mhm.
you are not called to go into this plastic reconciliation for the sake of the holidays.
My
Be
God,
free. That's it.
be free. In
Mhm.
other words, I would just say,
Yep.
know your Judas from Peter.
Come on.
Jesus
You're
told
right.
Judas that Judas, go and do what you got to do
Deuces.
quickly.
That's right. Deuces.
Listen, listen,
Oh, man.
yo. Okay, I got one last little question.
You got it.
As we wrap this up, just give us a nugget on, because I know holiday season. I know we talked about consumerism. We talked about
Mhm.
grief, mental health, and being well. What does peace on earth look like for us today?
Hmm.
Let's give the people some hope.
Okay. It looks like Daryl's still pondering, so I'll jump in real
I
quick while
am.
he ponders. He's gonna say something deep
No, I'm
anyway.
not.
It's gonna blow us up the water. So I'm used to that.
No,
But I
no.
think when I think about peace during the season, I don't think about it in terms of being a peacekeeper,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
peacekeeping
Yep.
capitulates. Peacekeeping is go along to get along. Peacekeeping is, assimilation. Peacekeeping is all that. But I think about um, the bl- the peace that has the blessing on it, according to
Yep.
Matthew and the Beatitudes,
Preach.
is blessed are the peacemakers,
That's right.
right? And I think about peace during the season. It's not just oh, this is amazing, what Daryl alluded to when we started about the wars
Mm.
and the different things going on. So I think as far as if we're talking about a nugget, even of hope, where peace is concerned, that we are intentional in making peace, doing the things that cause there to be peace, not waiting for it to
Yeah.
come. It's not a passive thing. It's active. It's involved. It's engaged. It's vigilant. Um,
Mm,
and it's something like the same thing we talk about, like justice and reconciliation. It's not something.
Yeah.
Peace is not caused by. It's okay. It's okay. Like especially right now, that I think people can find hope in the fact that even with it being Christmas season, it's still okay to cry loud and lift up your voices.
That's
It's
right.
still okay to have a protest. It's still okay to have
Yes.
something to say about Gaza. It's still something okay to have something to say about ICE. It's still okay to have something to say
That's good.
about um, all the injustices that we're seeing, even in the Christmas season.
Yeah.
And so here's the nugget of hope, that Christmas does not mean that you're muted. It means
Yes.
even that your peacemaking efforts are all the more, especially when we look at the true meaning of Christmas, the true meaning of the Advent, that is when Jesus came in a radical, obvious way to make peace in a place where there
mm.
was none.
Come on. Come
So
on,
So
that's
good.
that's kind of my nugget or my
man.
my thought. Yeah.
Well, I certainly don't want to follow that. I just say that that
So crazy.
uh when man, I mean Jefferson, you hit us with a heavy hitter there. Because you're using, I mean, obviously it's a phrase that almost becomes trite come holiday season because it's just
Hmm.
said so often, right?
Yeah.
And so in many ways it feels like a reference to some type of fantasy land because Christmas time, everything's magical and dreamy. Peace on earth, goodwill towards men. And it's almost like is the time to cosplay who we are not.
Wow.
And so when we
Jeez Louise.
hear, you
Like,
know what I mean? Like when
yeah,
when
I know
when
what you
when we hear
mean.
when we hear the words peace on earth, it can feel almost impossible to imagine in a world like ours that really exists, right? I mean, we've already talked about it. We're living with war on every screen, violence in our neighborhoods, political division that tears families apart. We all that happens, right? You got systems that are still failing the most vulnerable. Uh, but I would say like biblical peace. as Dion just put it so perfectly, it's not the absence of struggle, right? It is the presence of God's justice, God's healing, God's nearness right in the middle of the struggle. So what does it look like today? I think it looks like communities refusing to surrender to despair. I think it looks like people choosing truth over silence. I think it looks like people choosing compassion over cynicism. I think it looks like people choosing dignity over dehumanization. Like it's like neighbors checking on one another, churches creating what Dion was pointing out, safe spaces for people to breathe. Uh,
Mm.
Even some of our families learning new patterns of love that break generational harm.
Mm.
Peace on earth for me is structural. I mean, it's policies that protect the vulnerable. It's leaders who value human life. It's systems like public systems that reflect God's heart for the widow, for the stranger, for the oppressed. Peace is never passive. What did it say? I think somebody said peace is justice with his work boots on, right? And
Ooh.
and and I
I love
think
that.
and I think at the same time, right? Peace does begin with the soul. Peace is that quiet courage to try to hope again.
Mm.
Peace is kind of that people describe it like as this stillness that God gives when everything around us feels so unstable. I
Mm.
feel like it's like a knowledge that darkness doesn't get the final word. So
Mm.
when we so when we I mean even the angels, right? They announced peace at a time when Rome's empire was crushing people. I mean, they weren't describing
Yeah, yeah.
they were not describing what the world already was. They were declaring what God was
Right.
bringing about through
Yes,
Jesus,
yes,
right? So
yes.
so when we say peace on earth today, we're not pretending everything is fine. That's my point. We're
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
we're holding on to that promise that God is still moving, that God is still healing, that God is still freeing, that God is still restoring. And so I think peace on earth begins wherever people choose love over fear and justice over convenience.
Yeah,
And that'll always mean that peace is not far away because it starts with us. It flows through us. It starts with Christ, but it flows through us and it becomes visible whenever we choose to live as if God's future is already pushing
Mm.
into our present.
That's so good. All I got is one line. I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna close it out. But I choose to reject a peace on earth that is projected as a spiritualized toxic positivity
Oh,
that erases the suffering servant that I can identify with.
say that. Say that. Toxic positivity, brother. I love that, man. We just need to sit in that.
It's a
I
whole
sit
other
in that
podcast.
phrase
It's a
often.
whole other
Yes.
podcast.
That's it. It's a
Right.
pet peeve, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's it. And we can identify with the suffering of Jesus. There's space for that. God makes room for that.
That's
And
right.
whoever watches this episode, know that God makes room. The Creator makes room for your suffering during this season, for your
Yes.
pain, for your grief, for the lack that you have, for the things you want to buy, the guilt or the frustration with even what seems mundane to others, that God makes room for all the emotions, all the feels that you have during
Mm,
this holiday season.
mm, mm, mm.
That's good.
That sounds like a benediction, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so be it.
Yes.
Yo, you guys, my bros, and whoever sees this, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for sitting with us at the justice table,
Yes.
right?
Woohoo!
And until we meet again, you all enjoy this season as you sit in that tension of what you feel and what you're going through. You're having peace and the pain, the joy, the tears, all of it. God makes room for all of you, not just pieces of you.
Amen.
That's right.
All
That's
right,
good.
y'all.
That's good.
Amen.
Peace out.
Blessings.
Peace.